Oh God, when everything is spiraling out of control, when only 10 people have turned up to your key speech, when you decide to accidentally post pictures, look at this, of your husband having an argument with the nanny on your wedding day, then what more is there to do than yet another disastrous advertising post making zero sense, but showing that you are, these days, pretty damn crazy.
The amount of photos that she put just made her really look like kind of an insane narcissist. There were a lot of just her. And that one photo that you were just talking about is such a bad mistake. Well, it's interesting because you would have thought that somebody who had been there on that day, Serena, Oprah, the Clooneys, Priyanka Chopra.
Yes, she's another one.
Even Elton John, who she actually put a picture of him up. The only celebrity that she put a picture of, because of course she wants to tie herself again to Diana. None of them said, "What a great day," or "Wow, what a magical wedding," or "I still think about it." You know, no one said anything. And it is just getting quite sad. And again, you kind of are like, oh girl, knock it off. Like, it's getting very cringy.
24 photographs, 1 Elton John, 0 family. That is the inventory of Meghan Markle's 8th wedding anniversary post. And Daily Mail's Alison Boshoff sat at her desk in Cannes on Tuesday afternoon, watched the carousel drop, and started counting. She counted them. So did Tom Sykes, the Daily Beast's veteran royal correspondent who had just flown back from Geneva that morning. 24 photographs, curated by Meghan herself, posted to her 4.5 million follower Instagram account, picked out and uploaded as her version of the day she married into the British royal family.
I think it's really interesting because she's showing all of the celebrity friends, right, who usually, and she proves it, post tributes all the time to other celebrities, right? Like they Oprah or Gayle King. Look at all of the people who they love celebrating, love talking about their big moments.
In those 24 photographs, almost every one of them is solo. Several show her dancing alone in that Stella McCartney reception gown. There is no Doria. There is no Charles. There is no royal family of any kind. There is one famous face from the 2018 guest list. And per Boshoff's reporting at the Daily Mail, even that one is, in her words, a Harry relationship, not a Harry and Meghan relationship. This video walks through the count. Who is there? Who isn't? And why the woman who once described her wedding as a public spectacle the British taxpayer paid for, 8 years on, only seems to remember herself in it.
I know it's difficult to be shocked by how low Meghan will go, but I was still shocked by the merching of the wedding for a candle. Honestly, I was. Because, you know, the difference with this, Paula, is that at least with the children, I guess you can say, well, it's up to them now what they do. I mean, this was a wedding paid for by us, the British taxpayer, and paid for by the British royal family. And merching the wedding, to me, I always knew that'd go there eventually. I'm shocked that I've done it so early.
We are going to walk through the carousel exactly the way Boshoff did, block by block. The photos she chose, the people she left out, the friend Boshoff says was never really hers. And then, near the end, we are going to play you something Harry himself said 7 months ago, in October, on an American comedy podcast. Because what Harry said about social media that day and what his wife just did with her own carousel this Tuesday do not belong in the same marriage.
It's almost like she was begging people to post about this, to talk about this. And the silence was utterly damning in my view.
Let us start with what Meghan did post. 24 images posted in the early hours of Tuesday morning Pacific time, most of them previously unseen. A corkboard-style collage at the front, then individual photographs beyond. There is Meghan in the Givenchy ceremony gown, standing alone in a hallway, looking down at the floor. Beside it, Meghan in the backless Stella McCartney reception gown, dancing with her arms above her head, alone again. A kiss, another kiss. At least 6 different solo shots of her in various corners of the day, in various poses, in various stages of getting ready.
Looking back at all the pictures that she posted, I think some of them we maybe have seen before, but some of them not quite so much. And there's one picture in particular that kind of got to me, and that was when they're like close to smooching and she's like grabbing his face and he looks drunk as a skunk, like with his mouth open. It's like super awkward. I was like, why are you sharing this picture?
Harry shows up in some of them. He is in roughly a quarter of the frame count and one more face. Elton John. One picture, in the corner of one shot from the reception. According to Boshoff's reporting, Elton stayed in touch with Harry over the years. But as she put it on her show this week, it is a Harry relationship, not a Harry and Meghan relationship. That is the entire celebrity contingent of the carousel.
It was really striking, Paula, that on this anniversary, which clearly none of us thought was significant, but Harry and Meghan did, there was not one tribute from anyone else. And so they're the ones invading their own privacy. And it links, Paula, with what you have been reporting to Alison Boshoff in the Daily Mail in recent weeks about how virtually every A-lister at the wedding in some way, Paula, has turned or at least chosen to freeze themselves out.
One man, who isn't really her friend. Now let us count what is not in those 24 photographs. Because that count, and Boshoff is the one who said this out loud first, is the actual story. It is the story Meghan herself wrote, simply by choosing what to publish and what to leave out. Every wedding photo album is a curation. The choices you make tell the world who you still want to claim and who you no longer do. This carousel made a lot of choices.
She has censored the royal family from it. It's as if the royal family weren't there.
Doria Ragland walked Meghan into St. George's Chapel on the 19th of May, 2018. She wore a duck egg blue Oscar de la Renta dress. She sat alone in the front pew on the bride's side. She was the only Markle family member present that day. She had flown in from Los Angeles. Photographers caught her weeping through the ceremony, then laughing at the reception. She danced, and on the chapel steps, she held Meghan's hand. In the 24 photographs Meghan herself curated and posted on Tuesday for her 8th anniversary, Doria does not appear. Not in the corkboard collage, not in the candid getting ready images, anywhere.
Things haven't been good for some time between Doria and Meghan Markle, have they? It's been very obvious in Doria's couple of brief appearances on Meghan's media projects that she's just not interested. She doesn't like being dragged into the spotlight and used in the same way.
Boshoff said it carefully, the way Boshoff says these things. It is worth saying it carefully too. The photographs exist. We know the photographs exist. The official wedding photographer, Alexei Lubomirsky, took several formal portraits of Meghan with Doria. They were released publicly in 2018. Meghan has access to that entire archive. She could pick any frame, any candid, any pose. She chose none of them. In the version of her wedding day, Meghan published this Tuesday to 4.5 million followers, her own mother is not present. Boshoff didn't have to spell out what that means. The audience does the spelling. A mother who is photographed weeping with joy at her daughter's wedding ought to appear somewhere in that daughter's wedding album. 8 years later, 24 photos in, Doria's absence here is not a privacy decision. Privacy decisions affect what other people post about you. This was Meghan's own carousel. Meghan made every choice.
I looked at the pictures of Harry, right? Of her dancing with Harry, her suction kissing him. And I tell you what, he just looked like a little rag doll in her arms. You know, she clearly was director of operations on that day. And you could almost see from those pictures this poor, innocent ginger guy, a lamb to the slaughter, being sucked into Meghan's master plan.
This is the woman whose Netflix special told us repeatedly how close she is to her mother. This is the woman whose Sussex royal launch positioned Doria as the moral center of the family. This is the woman who, in her own Vanity Fair cover story years ago, called her mother her best friend. And on the day she chose to publish her wedding photo album to the public, on the 8th anniversary of the moment Doria walked her down the aisle, Doria didn't make the cut. A wedding photo album that doesn't include the bride's mother is the kind of thing you notice. It is the kind of thing you only notice if you are paying attention to what the carousel is actually for.
The best man, William, has become the invisible man. He's not in any of Meghan's pictures, nor is Catherine, the Princess of Wales, nor is the late Queen Elizabeth or the late Prince Philip, Anne, Edward, you name it, they're not there, nor are any of the galaxy of stars who went there as well, who attended that wedding. So she's censored everybody out of these great raft of pictures, and it's just her, mainly her, and a little bit of Harry.
King Charles III, then the Prince of Wales, walked Meghan down the second half of that aisle. It was a personal kindness offered after her own father pulled out of the wedding. It was, by many royal historians framing at the time, one of the more unusual acts of welcome the institution had extended to a new royal in decades. A man in his late 60s, the future king, stepping in for a stranger's daughter on her wedding day. The British press at the time called it the moment she was finally accepted. And in those 24 photographs, he is not there. Queen Elizabeth II attended the wedding, approved the venue, approved the carriage procession, sat through the ceremony in the chapel, and that morning gave Harry the Sussex dukedom itself. She is not in the carousel. Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, attended the wedding. They walked into the chapel together. Their children, Prince George and Princess Charlotte, were in the wedding party as page and bridesmaid. None of that is reflected in the post.
Catherine and William give us updated pictures of their families. We don't really get a callback picture. Now, I wouldn't mind, say one day seeing like a little short video behind the scenes of their wedding, but I think what strikes me is that William and Catherine are always looking to the present and the future, whereas Meghan Markle posting all these old wedding pictures, it seems like all she can do is look to the past. And why she's doing that, I think, is because these last 8 years have sucked in a lot of ways.
Tom Sykes, the Daily Beast's royal correspondent, 15 years on the beat, 2 Substack pieces published in the same week on The Wider Picture, frames it this way. The Sussexes, he wrote on Wednesday, have squandered every last drop of goodwill through precisely this kind of stunt. The performative solemnity, in his words, undercut by the reflexive vanity. The carousel Meghan published on Tuesday is not a private wedding album shared with the world. It is a curated brand asset, and the brand has chosen, in the version of her wedding day she wants the public to remember, to leave the British royal family out of it entirely.
I do think what was so interesting, though, about the whole wedding leak is that she's the only one now invading her own privacy, Paula. She is the only one. No other friends or family members had any desire to go back there on the wedding.
That is not an accident. A bride who would prefer her royal in-laws weren't in her own memorial of her own royal wedding has made a choice about what she remembers. She has made a choice about what she would like everyone else to remember. So who did make it into the carousel? One face, Elton John. That is Boshoff's reporting, Daily Mail, editor-at-large, and what she is telling us between those lines is that the one celebrity face Meghan included in her version of her wedding, the one she chose, the one she signed off on for her 4.5 million followers, is not actually Meghan's friend. He is Harry's. And here is where I lose patience with this story. George and Amal Clooney came to that wedding in 2018. By Boshoff's reporting, they told other guests they had never actually met the bride and groom before that day. They were lending celebrity. Last week, they showed up at King Charles's charity party, not Meghan's anniversary post. Their loyalty was always to the institution, never to the brand. Oprah came to the wedding. She wanted the Oprah interview that came 3 years later. She got it. Transaction completed.
Most of their friends like Oprah, she has not been seen with Meghan Markle in years, right? Obviously, she did the famous sit-down interview. I think a lot of their A-list friends have ditched them because they know there's no substance there. I think Meghan Markle played in Oprah's face. I think she sold her a bunch of lies, in my opinion. She told her mistruths. She told her half-truths to try and build a victim narrative. Who wants to hear some spoiled brat duchess complain about her time in the royal family? I'm so sorry you had to suffer and be in the royal family, sweetheart. I'm so sorry you got to live the fantasy millions of girls wish for every single day. I'm sorry you had to go to ribbon cuttings. I'm sorry you had to do a little cookbook. I'm sorry you had to wear fancy outfits and show up at charity events and go on trips that were paid for. So I'm so sorry to you.
She has been quiet on the Sussexes ever since. David and Victoria Beckham came to the wedding. By Boshoff's reporting, they will not go anywhere near the Sussexes now. They have been seen instead with William and Catherine. Serena Williams, by Boshoff's account, was the last holdout, Meghan's actual friend, the one who stuck around. And even Serena, per the most recent reporting, has cooled. That is the social ledger of someone whose anniversary carousel contains one Elton John and a lot of mirror selfies. And before anyone says, well, of course, celebrities don't post tributes to someone else's anniversary. That's not how Hollywood works. Hold on. The Clooneys did make it to King Charles's party last week. They are out there. They are taking photographs with people. They are just choosing different people. Boshoff's reporting isn't about who didn't post a tribute. It is about who Meghan herself chose to include and exclude from her own version of the day. That ledger reads like a brand that ran out of friends, a wedding photo album that runs on grievance. That's a fuel tank with a leak.
They shared another one where they're waving for people to come out on the crowd. And to be fair, Meghan Markle's eyes aren't open or whatever, but it just kind of comes across, I think, as really awkward. And Meghan posts another collage series and calls it Forever Your Girlfriend. from official, mostly black and white photos from their wedding.
8 years in, the gauge is showing what it was always going to show. There's one more piece of evidence we need to look at. It is not from this week. In October of 2025, 7 months ago, Prince Harry sat down with the American comedian Hassan Minhaj on his podcast. They talked about a lot of things. American citizenship, his accent, the strangeness of bringing his children up in California. And then Minhaj asked him a specific question. What were they going to do? He asked. When their children asked for mobile phones one day. That was Harry, October last year, way more cautious, way more hesitant about letting their children near social media. The same Harry, on the same podcast, called the companies behind the platforms evil, wicked people who farm our children's mindset and market it for themselves.
What are you going to do when your kids ask for a cell phone? Are you going to give them a phone? I mean, have you talked to Meghan about this? Because I've talked to my wife about this.
We talk about it a lot. And I think that, because of what we know now, we will be way more cautious and hesitant of allowing our kids to have access to social media. But the problem is so many parents don't have that awareness, because in no logical, fair, ethical, moral world should a parent have to consider that this app that sits on the phone, which, by the way, having a phone for your kid is a really important thing.
He said this in late October. The clip went modestly viral inside royal watching circles for 48 hours and then settled into the archive, the way most podcast soundbites do. It is back this week because of what his wife just posted. His wife, this Tuesday, the 19th of May, posted a carousel of 24 wedding photographs to 4.5 million followers. She included a clip of their children singing happy anniversary to their mother. She showed the bronze penguin Harry had picked out as her 8th anniversary gift. Bronze being, the brand reminded everyone, the traditional medal for the 8th year, the medal that stands for lifelong partnership. The version of Harry and Meghan's marriage their carousel shows you is the one they want you to see. The version Harry described on that podcast, way more cautious, way more hesitant about social media, is the one his wife runs on professionally. Those two versions cannot both be true. And in 15 days, on the 6th of June, there is going to be another version of that marriage on display.
Happy anniversary to
And Papa! I love you.
Blow them! No. Blow them!
Yay! Oh my god! This is when Mama and Papa, when we got engaged, we had a party with all of our friends and we said everyone we were an animal onesie and we were penguins. We were penguins because we're together for life. Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's son and the late Queen's eldest grandson, will marry Harriet Sperling at All Saints Church in Kemble. King Charles is invited. Queen Camilla is invited. William and Catherine are invited. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are returning to public royal life through that wedding. They have been quietly photographed at engagements with the King's office in the last fortnight. The Sussexes are not on the guest list.
This is like the ultimate snub to Harry and Meghan. This is a family wedding. This is something that in the past there would have been an expectation that someone so high up the line of succession would have been. And the fact that the royals are briefing directly to the son that the king wanted Beatrice and Eugenie to be there and wanted them to remain part of the family is obviously like a dagger in the heart to Harry and Meghan, who are desperately trying to get back into the fold.
Multiple outlets are reporting it. Peter Phillips's team has not denied it. The family has been making its own count too. So that is the carousel. 24 photographs, 0 family, 1 Elton John who isn't really her friend, a husband who in October said his wife should be more hesitant about social media, and a wife who on Tuesday posted 24 pictures of herself instead.
You are going to make a candle that smells like your children. First of all, hello, pedo bait. Second of all, they merged the Queen when she came out with Princess Lilibet candle. Then, of course, due to the backlash, she took it back, and now, of course, the press release says, the candle is in honor of our founder's daughter, Lilibet, whereas we all have the original press release. So she merged the Queen, she merged her kids, and now she's merging her wedding. Of course she is. It's just natural.
This is Star Spotlight, walking through the album she chose to publish, because 8 years on, that album is the one she is left with. We will be back later this week with Tom Sykes' kitchen verdict and what he says it tells you about Project Sussex. And by the 6th of June, we will be in Kemble. Drop your verdict in the comments. Should Meghan have included her mother in those 24 photographs? Or did she make the right call keeping Doria private? I sat with the carousel for an hour this Tuesday morning. The bronze penguin caught me first, 8th anniversary gift, traditional medal, all of that. And then I started counting faces. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who care about these stories. And subscribe.